Hi, everyone. This is Betska, the Guru Coach, together with my very handsome co-host, Raj Vashisht. He's from India. I'm from Canada, and we are Mindful Leadership Beyond Borders. Our incredible guest today is Geoff Keller, and I want to tell you a little bit about him. You're going to love what this man is doing, and he's going to teach us a lot about preserving nature.
Yes.
So let me tell you about him. Ever since high school, Geoff has had a passion for the natural world. And in his younger years, he had always intended upon becoming a wildlife biologist or perhaps a park naturalist. He holds a degree in biology with an emphasis on field biology. But employment opportunities in those two fields were all but non-existent when he graduated from college. So he was obliged to seek additional education in the medical field. But upon early retirement, so we're going fast forward many years, he moved to South Central Indiana and purchased a 5-acre property that he now calls the Frog Ranch. Frog Ranch. How cool is that, right? His goal was to create ideal breeding conditions for the species of amphibians common to the area, knowing full well amphibians in general were undergoing mass extinction. And I'm sure that disturbs Geoff's heart as well as our own, when we see these little guys going extinct. But Geoff continues to be the steward of this 5-acre property, where his goal is to maximize the biodiversity of as many native life forms as possible, as well as eliminate all of the invasive plant species, which have the potential to significantly reduce native plant populations. So, welcome, Geoff.
Well, thank you, Betska.
Geoff is also known
Betska, welcome, Raj.
Yeah. Geoff is also, he's been on our show before, and he's very famous for being called the elderly vegan. And if you haven't seen his other podcast with us, go over to your favorite place where you get your podcast and listen to those shows, because we covered a lot about health and why at his ripe old age of 75, he's very robust and his body looks like a 30-year-old. You know what I mean? So if you missed those shows after this one, please go and click on our podcast, and you will really benefit from the knowledge this gentleman has gained over the years. All right, so now back to, go ahead, Raj.
Geoff is the right fit for the school, college, and corporate world for guidance and inspiration.
Yeah. You mean because of his veganism or because of his frog ranch?
Both.
Both. Yeah, for sure.
Because he's a very natural speaker.
Yeah. Yeah, he is definitely.
And very splendid speaker.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Wow. Raj and I were so amazed when we did the recording of you as elderly vegan. You were so articulate, and you got so much information into a short period of time. We both went, wow. You did an awesome job.
Let's hope I can keep going.
And the important thing is a very beautiful presentation. So people will not feel single minute bored, or like a very interactive, engaging conversation.
I think they were mesmerized even, right? By what you had to say.
Yeah, the right word, mesmerized. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Because so many speakers around the world, but after 5 or 10 minutes, people feel, oh my God,
bored.
When this will stop.
Well, I hope
Raj,
I hope I don't let you down on this one.
Oh,
no
one. You won't. And
I
think also not only was Geoff's presentation mesmerizing, it was Raj's hair that stole the show. People comment on it all the time.
Oh my gosh. people love my hair, especially young generation. So much they are love in here and everywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever I go, they love. And some people I have seen, Betska, I know some people last more than 5 or 6 years. They see me in my status, they see my videos. So I'm so happy. Some people join gym, some people
Yeah.
do video making, some people do a lot of things. So this is the
Yeah.
hidden
Good. Yeah.
inspiration and
Yeah.
motivation. This
Hmm.
is really awesome.
I agree. Okay, Geoff, so let's get this
Yes,
show on the road. And
correct.
you are calling your 5-acre property the
Mhm.
Frog Ranch. I just love that. It's very simple, right? So how and why did you arrive at that name, ranch, Frog
Well,
Ranch?
it just seemed like a natural for me. I mean, as soon as I saw the property, it was undeveloped and I knew I wanted to live on it. And
Oh,
it did have, and it still does, a pond that had been put in by a contractor that's, like 14 feet deep and almost a half an acre wide. And so there were three species already breeding on this property, but I knew it had potential if I created the correct habitat that it could support more species. Because I've been enamored with an amphibian since I was a little kid, and I knew they were in trouble. So I wanted to do my part to help the amphibian species that I could that are living within my range. And so this particular property, I knew it was going to be a sanctuary from day one. And I'm not exactly sure how I came up with the word frog ranch, but it didn't take long.
so have you any idea? So originally it had 3 species of
It
frogs. So
did.
how many are there now? Have you any idea?
Well, there's 7 species that breed here now. But the
Ah,
reason it has jumped up from 3 to 7 is because I've created ideal habitat for them.
okay.
Because here's the situation. A lot of tadpoles uh, really don't know how to hide from fish. And if they don't know how to
Oh,
hide from fish, they're not going to last long in a pond that's got
oh,
bass and bluegill in it. So these frog species are aware. I mean, they know if there's a permanent water situation that's populated with fish, they'll have nothing to do with it.
mm.
Therefore, I created fish-free wetlands, and they instantly know these are fish-free wetlands, and that then attracted more amphibians to start breeding on the property. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how and I also did inoculate my new habitat I created with a few species. Like I have some friends that have, they'd say, well, would you like a cluster of my southern leopard frog eggs to inoculate one of your, I call them tadpole birthing suites. These are my shallow, because they really are. They're my
Yeah.
shallow wetlands and they're fish free, and this was a fish-free species, so I would just all have to do is put a few little eggs in there and they take off from there. But there's been
Wow.
other amphibians that have just discovered it on their own. So it works both ways.
Yeah. I'm very touched by that was a very sweet move, to remove the fish so the frogs could survive. Folks, I sent Geoff a recording. We have a pond garden across the way, and it's a beautiful place. And there are frogs that sing March, April, May, June, all the time. They're mating, of course. And I sent it to Geoff, just a little clip, and he writes back. He said, "Oh, those are Pacific chorus frogs." I went, "Yeah, our neighbor had discovered that as well. What their name was." So, and Geoff, you said when you lived on the Oregon coast
Mhm.
that you had Pacific chorus frogs here. So, any idea why you don't have them in on your property?
Well,
In
it's just they have their own little habitat requirements. And when you start going from one region of the globe to the other, they're just going to have their own range of where they're supposed to breed, and that's it.
Yeah,
Because South Central Indiana is by no means the Pacific Northwest. And the Pacific chorus frog is for sure a Pacific Northwest specialty. In fact,
Mm.
it's the famous Hollywood, in a manner of speaking, it's the Hollywood frog. Whenever there's a Hollywood movie and they
Yes.
want to have a frog sound in the background, they use Pacific chorus frog. And
Ah.
they'll use that sound even if it's a different frog. They don't care. They'll use it anyway because it is the quintessential amphibian sound that Hollywood is glommed onto.
Isn't that fascinating?
And
Well,
I
I
wish,
love it.
I mean, I would love to have Pacific course frogs here, but you got to be careful with that. When you start moving animals
Yeah,
and plants
yeah.
from one region of the globe to the other, boy,
Mm,
can that ever change the dynamics, and it cannot be a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah.
And I can give you an example of that.
Okay,
Bullfrogs. American bullfrogs are native to eastern US. I have
right.
bullfrogs in my pond. They're one of my 7 species. I love them. But humans, the ones I think that wanted frog legs to eat, decided,
Mm,
oh, let's bring some American bullfrogs out and inoculate the ponds in the Pacific Northwest with American bullfrogs. Oh my God, what a disaster that has been. That is
wow.
the reason is their whole predator prey, their whole behavior is out of balance. It's out of whack. So what are these
Yes.
American bullfrogs doing in the Pacific Northwest? They're eating the baby Western painted or Western pond turtle. The Western pond
Oh,
turtle is now on the threatened list of going
wow.
extinct, and yet the bullfrogs that got introduced from the eastern US are eating them as fast as they can. So they're actually trying to exterminate the bullfrogs in west of the mountains for sure. But
Mm,
they were not they didn't evolve with the rest of those species out there, and so they're like well, that's happening all over the world with invasive species everywhere. When you take a
mhm.
living thing out of its normal habitat and transplant it to some other place, it can throw everything out of balance, and you can get some unintended consequences really quick, and they can be negative.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Yeah, like yeah. I know we have plant species here that are very invasive and they just take over, right? So, yeah,
They
whether it's
do.
plant or animal based, yeah. So, Geoff, why are amphibians going through mass extinction? What is the cause of this?
Okay, very good
I'm
question.
sad. I'm so sad that you're telling me this.
Yeah, there are multiple reasons.
Okay.
I suppose, and I'm not really sure which is the most important, but habitat destruction has to be one of the top
Oh,
ones. I mean,
yeah.
we're filling all through eastern US and much of the tropics. They're just tearing apart the native habitats and creating, for agriculture or plantations or whatever. So habitat destruction is pushing them over the edge, but it's more than that. And I think another huge one are the pesticides and herbicides.
Oh, yeah.
Pesticides and herbicides, the technical term for that is xenobiotics. That's a technical term, which means it's a chemical that never existed before in human history, in the planet of the Earth. The problem with frogs and salamanders is their skin is moist and thin and it absorbs everything. So if
Oh,
you have Roundup or whatever,
mhm.
pesticides or herbicides, that is just basically sucked right into a frog's or salamander's skin quicker than quick. In fact, Roundup, the surfactant in Roundup, that glyphosate, is extremely lethal to amphibian species. And so the wide use of pesticides and herbicides is definitely another factor. Another factor is the thinning of the ozone, and that's human induced also. I'm not as up to speed on how we've managed to thin the ozone, but we're doing it. And that is important in the Pacific Northwest. There's a frog species that lives in the Cascade Mountains of Oregon, Washington, and maybe up into British Columbia. It's called the Cascades frog, and they're tadpoles because the ozone is thinned. they're dying from extra ultraviolet radiation that's hitting them.
Oh,
So they're
oh.
taken out by that, but it's more than that. Another reason is, oh my gosh, this is a huge one. Pathogens. There is a fungus and a virus that has taken out, decimated certain species on a global basis. The virus is called one of the bad ones is called Rana virus, RANA. Rana virus has attacked some has definitely gone after some frogs in the United States for sure. But the chytrid fungus, this is another type of fungus. It's called the chytrid fungus. It's globally decimating a lot of species. Uh, when I was 30 years old, there was I used to see nature films by David Attenborough that would feature the golden toad from Costa Rica. The golden toad was locally abundant when I was 30 years old. By the time I was 39, that's when the last golden toad was seen. It has gone
Oh.
extinct. It was the chytrid fungus that basically took it out.
Mm.
The pet trade has exacerbated this because they have allowed it, it allows these pathogens, the ranavirus and the chytrid fungus, to be transferred to places in the planet that may not have had access to them. So that's also a huge reason as well as the pathogens. And let's see, I think I'm forgetting another one. Um, but there's
Climate change.
multiple.
Climate change.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. Climate change has also done its damage to a lot of species because it changes their living situation. And
Mm.
just now, these aren't amphibians, but mammals, everything can be on the receiving end of some bad outcome
Yeah.
with climate change. Polar bears and walruses are
Mm.
particularly vulnerable to climate warming
Mm.
because
Right.
they need these ice flows as a surface they can walk on, and the polar ice cap is getting smaller every year. So that
Mm-hmm.
is putting the walrus and the polar bears in great duress.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So we have established here that the amphibians are going through mass extinction, and we're going to take a pause. And when we come back, folks, please stay tuned because we're going to discuss with Geoff how the average homeowner can help preserve the biodiversity of the planet to help these little guys so they can keep croaking for us. We'll be right back, folks.